Hi there, welcome back. In today's video we're going to try out something a bit new, a new mould, and these. Now these arrived recently, chameleon flakes. We've also got some other tints and so on here that we can use. These are actually from Resin Jewels, not the Let's Resin. These ones I'm getting out the bag now are all from Resin Jewels. Everything we used in today's video will be linked in the description box below, but this was primarily to try out this mould using regular resin and the chameleon flakes, see how they work, because we've never tried these Let's Resin chameleon flakes before. Now unfortunately, yes, this is a matte mould, so we're going to have a matte finish on it, but we're going to sort that out towards the end. So let's take a little closer look at the chameleon flakes. Now they come with a brush. It looks like a decent brush, and there are some lovely colours. I mean, let's have a look at this first one. Look at the colour shift. You've got green and pinks. Then we've got blues and purples. Oh God, blue and purple again. Let's have a look. Green and blue. I can see there maybe a little bit of purple and lavender. And a really vibrant pinks and purples in that one. So the idea is to apply the chameleon flakes to the mould. Now, I took a lot of deciding, of course. What colours was I going to try and use? Now, it's usual that once you've dusted your chameleon flakes onto the mould, you'd back it with black resin. We've had a few experiences doing that recently with just regular mica powders, and they didn't come out too well. So I'm going to do something a little bit controversial perhaps, but you'll see what I mean a bit later on in the video. So I'm using, now this is a lovely tint or mica powder from Jules at Resin Jewels. I think it was part of the honey collection or the bee inspired kit that we got from her last year. I know that kit's no longer available, but I'm sure that she will stock something similar to this colour, if not this colour mica powder. And if not, you can always try Helena at Resin Detra Supplies. They quite often collaborate together to bring you beautiful kits. So here we go. I'm just using the usual technique that you'll always see me doing when applying mica to moulds, and that is a little dry bristle paintbrush, dipping it in the pot and then applying it over the mould. Now I wanted to try and bring a lovely warm golden glow to some of the detail on the mould itself. Now again, this isn't going to be as lovely and glossy and vibrant as I was hoping, because it is a matte mould. So if anybody knows where you can get this mould but with a glossy finish, please let me know in the comments box below. So here we go. It's just obviously bits of this video, I apologise in advance, we have had to speed them up because you know, it takes rather a long time to do them and so on. Now as you can see, I've literally got that everywhere. So now all I'm doing is using a wipe. Now you can use a little bit of isopropyl alcohol if you want, on some kitchen towel. I just want to clean up the mould. Unusual for me, but I want to make this as clean as possible as I'm working on it, so I can really see what it looks like. I don't know how else to describe that. I just need to see where I'm working, what I'm doing, and also to make sure that I'm going to get in the colours where I want them to go, although a lot of that will change, as you will see further down the line in the video. Yeah, I should also say that today's video is demonstrated by myself, Laura, and also by Wayne. So you will see a changeover of hands and so on through the video. So there we go. So I'm just using the wipe there just to clean up the parts where I don't want the mica powder. And I forgot that these moulds stick to everything as well. If you can see there, can you see the difference? So just gonna, a little bit of a close-up here. I thought you might be interested to see this. Where it's literally just wiping off the mould, which is great. And as I said, you can use regular like baby wet wipes. You can use a bit of kitchen towel with some isopropyl alcohol. Just don't flood the mould, obviously, because you don't want the mica powder to turn in a liquid and then, you know, basically run out of where you want it to be. So I was just trying to get them into the areas where I wanted it to be, all the time thinking I don't know how much of this is going to show up in the finished piece because it's a matte mould. But there we go. So almost done with doing my little tidy up bit, which is, as I said, very unusual for me. I am not necessarily a very clean crafter, but you know, creative minds quite often aren't clean minds. So that's the mould completely cleaned. I do just turn it over like we go there, give it a bit of a tappy wappy. Do you see all that excess mica that had come out then? You do need to get rid of that as well. And again, wipe just over your surface. If you're doing this on a silicone mat like I am, then it will wipe off. Now, decisions. What colours do I put where? And what method do I use? So I thought as well, whilst I was thinking about making final decisions on the colours, I would take a micro brush. Now these brushes are invaluable, and I'm going around in all the little details because there is a lot of detail, fine detail in this mould, and just making sure that the mica powder wherever, on the tints wherever possible, are burnished onto the surfaces of that mould as much as I can within an inch of its life, you know. So just trying to make sure that all of that happens so that all the detail does show up in the finished piece. Spoiler alert, it does, but not necessarily in this colours. Another little hint there. Right, so very happy with that. Now I'm going to use this colour for the top part and this colour for the bottom part. But it's got quite a steampunk feel about it, this hot air balloon. Look at those colours, absolutely stunning. So just sort of in for a close-up now. Now, yeah, trying to open it, hilarious, with gloves on. Just about managed to do it. Now look at this, oh my goodness me. Now there's a lot of flakes on that seal, so, you know, waste not, want not. Going to do my best to try and, I thought I'd just be able to just brush it off of the seal there onto the mould. And yeah, a lovely blue colour there that you're seeing from the flakes. However, so much static, I couldn't believe it. So this, we see what happens. It goes on like a flake, and as you brush it in, it gets more and more like a powder. So here we go, watch this. Look at this, I mean, look at that colour. It's just the static, it's just, oh, and do you see that? It just flew off. It attracts itself. I found, honestly, I don't know if anybody else has found this with these, with flakes, that it attracts itself to everywhere. Even in the bits where you don't want it to go, as you can see around the top of the outside of the mould there. But I thought, you know, that's not going to deter me, so I have sped up this clip a bit, and I'm just gonna go for it. Let's just go for it. Loving the colours. I can see vivid blues, I can see turquoise, I can see purples, I can see a little bit of silvery grey, and the greens. I mean, it really is showing up the mould, the detail in this mould, really, really well. So just continued doing that until I was happy that I'd got as much coverage done as I wanted. Really, really burnished them on well onto the mould. Look at that. Look at the sheen. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Now I do a clean up again, as you can see now. Cleaning up, see what I mean? I must have turned over a new leaf. New year and all that. And just trying to make it as clean and tidy as possible. Now this is the other colour. Now I thought I'd try a different method, which I've seen other crafters use, and that is to use these foam, like eyeshadow brushes, I think they are, makeup applicators, to see if it was any easier. And I am just managing to use then, quite a lot of it was just off of the seal. And this is from the other pot. This is the more bluer looking one. And I'm just putting it in the little bottom section there of the basket part, I suppose you'd call it, of the hot air balloon. But look at that, all tidied up, almost ready to go. Look at that, I do love that. It's just a shame it doesn't come out as vibrant as that. But as I said, if anybody knows a glossy finished version of this mould, please let me know. Right, so handing over to Wayne. He's mixed up some Tea Expert resin, 1:1 mixing ratio, and to colour it, again, controversially maybe, we're using some white acrylic paint. So yeah, he doesn't mix this quickly. So you put a small amount in, then stirred it in vigorously but carefully, to make sure it was all completely combined and it was as opaque as we needed it to be. Now, you could, of course, add in a bit of glitter if you wanted. Look at the colours on that. Oh, beautiful. So what he's decided to do, maybe it might make it a bit easier to do it this way, is to use one of those small little mixing jugs there, decanted some of the white coloured resin into it, and then he's going to pour it in. Now, of course, you don't have to use regular epoxy resin. You could, if you can work quick enough and you feel confident enough, use the polyurethane. Use black polyurethane or use the white. That is very, very runny. So you would have to be particularly careful in the very small areas and detailed parts so you didn't have lots of overspill. There we go. Wayne has got a really steady hand when it comes to pouring resin, which is not me. I don't have that. But he's gone back to using this little mixing cup, and he's just using a micro brush there just to help the resin go into those really, really fine details of the mould at the sides there and all up around the top. Again, making sure that there are no little air bubbles, and also making sure that it is going into every last little nook and cranny and detail of this mould. Yeah, lots and lots of patience. As I said, this bit has been sped up because otherwise you'd be sitting here for over an hour watching this video, and we know that your time is precious and that you don't necessarily have an hour to sit and watch us do these things. If you have joined us today, thank you for joining. Why not give us a thumbs up? You know, give us the old like rating, which is the thumbs up. Why not share, and why not subscribe? If you haven't subscribed to our channel, it's really easy to do. Just click the subscribe button. If you haven't got a YouTube account, then it's easy to set up a YouTube account, very easy. And you just need an email address. It's free to set it up. It's free to subscribe to our channel. And we upload 3 videos a week, Wednesdays, Fridays and Sundays, 5 PM UK time. They range from anything from, I don't know, 10-15 minutes up to perhaps half an hour, depending on what we're doing, depending on what techniques are involved. And the detail of it, the detail of the project. There are some more testing moulds and projects coming using chameleon flakes probably after this video. So in another couple of days after this video goes out, there'll be another one, and we'll show you what else we tried using them in. So that might be quite nice to see. So this is like a part 1, and that will be like a part 2. So I hope you're enjoying it so far. As I said, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And yeah, like, share and subscribe. So it looks like he's got the majority of the resin into the mould. He's spritzed it with a bit of isopropyl alcohol. And then this is 24 hours later now. Oh my gosh. This is actually me demoulding this. I was quite anxious about this because there's a really fine bit on the side there that I've just pointed to. So I'm actually trying to take the mould away from the cured bit of resin. That is so delicate, and in fact in the end we end up snipping them off. Yeah, they would have come off eventually. I mean, you know, so just being very, very careful, trying to almost push up through the mould to get the cured resin to go up away from the mould, and then taking the resin away from it underneath. I've got to be very, very careful of these other thin pieces here. Obviously, once it's completely cured, it will be very hard, rigid, and so on. This would look lovely mounted in a frame as a piece of wall art. Would look really, really beautiful, perhaps in lovely blues or pinks or lemon yellows. You know, if you've got a theme for a nursery, it would look stunning, absolutely stunning. So the resin's cured quite nicely. We've got a little bit of overpour there, which we will deal with, but we won't show you. I mean, you can take an X-Acto knife to it just to trim it up a little bit, but be very, very careful. Now, as you can see, I did say it's a matte mould, but I do like the way you've got a bit of colour shift going on, there. And you don't have to do what we're going to do. But you could cover it in some UV resin. Once you've done that, cured it, it will bring back its glossiness to it. It'll just bring it. It'll make it pop a bit more. However, I handed it back to Wayne and I let him work a little bit of magic. So this is a sped up. This bit is sped up because he took a long time into doing this because he just wanted it to be exact. He wanted it, there's a lot of fine painting details in this, so we haven't left everything in the video for you to watch, but I have left this bit in. Now this has been sped up and it was a long time, we spent a long time. So if you're wondering what he's using the metallic paints that you may have seen us use in a couple of previous videos perhaps. More I think with our Christmas themed ones. If you've not seen us use them before, then why not check out our playlist and have a look. There's loads and loads and loads of videos to go and have a look through there. Mainly how-to videos, but there are also a few collaborations that we took part in last year. I'm not certain this year about whether or not we'll be taking part in collaborations with other multiple artists or not. There'll be updates on that if we're going to do it, and that will be on our community page on our channel. So to find out about that, you will have to subscribe to our channel to be able to get updates from the community page part. We also sometimes post a few little sneak previews of what we're currently doing on there. And also, if you follow us on Instagram and Facebook, you'll also see a little few like behind the scenes shots of when we're creating projects. So why not follow us there? So that's over on Instagram and Facebook, and we're just there as lottiejasminedesigns. If you've got any questions regarding anything, why not direct message us? We'll answer them as soon as we are able to. It's not necessarily immediately, but it is usually within 24 hours of you having contacted us. There we go. So look at that. He's used these metallic paints. Beautiful, vibrant red there. He said he did like the gold, but he thought that, you know, it just needed a little bit of red. So there we go. A little bit of a real vibrant cherry red there. It's gorgeous. So that little bit that he's taking a lot of effort to paint does actually get removed, but never mind. There we are. Look at that. That looks beautiful. This would make such a lovely present for somebody, or even you know, to put in your own home. It is very steampunk themed, though, I think. So of course you could do it all in like metallic colours. That would look stunning. And now we cut to a little bit further along in the process, in the particular stage of this process. You can probably notice that he's applied some silver metallic paint to some of the netting that has gone over the bottom part of the balloon, and now he's applying sort of like a bronzy colour, I think that is, to the base to try and make it even more steampunky looking now. There we go. So this would be sort of like the sort of like the mechanics of it. Look at that. Looks great. So this actually looks a little like cross between a hot air balloon and an airship to me. But whilst you're watching him do that, you can also see there's a bit more detail of what looks like a swan, and it is. He said to me he had to paint the swan in. So look at that. Beautiful metallic white paint. Very, very fine brush. And then just painting in that detail. Even the detail of the feathers on the bird, on the swan itself, on its big wing and so on. It looks absolutely stunning. Of course, you don't have to do all this extra detail with painting. You can just leave it as is. Pop a top coat of clear resin or UV resin to it. Totally up to you. There we go. So you can see he's done a few more bits of more the mechanics side of things, and now he's just going to coat it in some UV. Now, of course, you can wear gloves. If I was using UV resin, I would definitely be wearing gloves. Wayne is happy not to wear gloves. He, at the moment, doesn't get allergic reactions like I do to resin, but never mind. But do make sure, whenever you're working using resin, whether it's eco resin or epoxy resin, polyurethane resin or UV resin, that you do take all the appropriate PPE precautions. Now, that said, Wayne has sort of poured out some of the UV resin onto the surface. Now, of course, he's got it flat onto his silicone mat. You can elevate it a bit by popping a couple of yogurt pots or something underneath it if you feel more happy doing that. You can apply a flood coat of regular epoxy resin, or you can do what Wayne's doing here, and that is just using a brush. He sacrificed this brush to do this. If you've got a silicone tip brush, then I would recommend using that. And then all he's done is he's just brushing in the UV resin all over the top. And can you see how it's bringing back a shine? It's giving it a bit of a gloss. There we go. So he is also going to do exactly the same thing to the bottom part of the balloon, the mechanic side, and also to the base part there where that beautiful swan is. There we go. Absolutely stunning. I keep saying that. How many times is that in this video? Twice, I think. What was the other word I used to use a lot last year in video? Oh, obsessed. Yeah. I'm going to try not to use those words quite so much and think of something that's a bit more descriptive, but sometimes it's the right word for the job. So there we go. He's just finishing off doing that. He's going to he cures this underneath an actual UV resin lamp rather than using the UV torch. But I mean, you know, you use what you have available. Probably a lamp is going to be better because it's a bigger surface area. And thank you for tuning in and watching us today. Here are the final shots. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and we will see you again in a couple of days with another one. Take care, everyone.